Kia ora everyone. Just thought I would check in to see how everyone is doing. I've been meaning to do that for a while, at least since we've made the announcement over the extension of extra restrictions at level 3 for the next wee while in Auckland. So particularly if you're in Auckland, I hope you're bearing up okay. And just to recap, obviously everyone's pretty familiar now with the decisions that have been made, but obviously we've got Auckland in level 3 restrictions for what will in total, of course they moved to level 3 restrictions earlier in the week, for what will in total be 14 days. But we are doing a check-in after a week, so do stay tuned for that. We just want to check our progress as we work to making sure that we've got a good handle on the perimeter of the cluster that we have in Auckland, the outbreak that we have in Auckland at the moment. So we will be doing a check-in after seven days, though we anticipate Auckland, all things going to plan, to remain in that level 3 restriction, and then we're hoping to be in the position to be able to lower that thereafter. Rest of the country, including Wellington, where I am right now, sitting in the beehive, will stay at level 2, and that's really a precautionary approach. You know, as we've seen with some of the cases we had so far, there had been a bit of movement outside of Auckland, so level 2 just helps us to make sure that we really limit the possible spread of the cases that we have. Now, we're going to make sure that we keep up to date with all those updates for you. So Dr. Ashley Bloomfield, you'll be seeing at the 1 o'clock press conference with people alongside, ministers alongside. So do continue to stay tuned to those. We'll be giving all the latest information that you need. Thank you, Lizzie. Yes, I am wearing a quite warm jumper in the office today. It's Sunday after all. The other thing I wanted to give you a quick update on, I know that there are many businesses who will be affected by the level 3 restrictions that are in Auckland at the moment, in particular. And so we have already said that we will be extending the wage subsidy, but for extra details on that, stay tuned. Tomorrow afternoon, we'll have Finance Minister Grant Robertson giving an update on that with extra details around where to apply and the criteria for that. So I know that'll be really important for many people. So do tune in again for that information. Also, many people curious around what impact this might have on the election. I'll be making some announcements on that tomorrow, so do stay tuned for that too. Now, just scanning some questions that you're asking as I go, so I'll do my best to just touch on a few of those. I think it was Cindy just asked, why is it that we're putting people who have COVID this time into quarantine, whereas we didn't do that last time? It's a really good question. One of the reasons is last time, of course, we were managing a range of cases across the country, and the scale of what we were managing at the time was much higher than what we are now. We did talk at that point about how we may in the future use quarantine facilities if needed, if we had further outbreaks. And so that's what we're doing. And the Director General made a really good point on why that's a useful thing to do. Some families, of course, experience household transmission. So one person will get COVID, then after a few days, they may end up passing it on to another family member, and then another family member. And if they're a large family, they can end up being in isolation for many days. By putting those who have COVID into quarantine, we lessen that family transmission, we reduce the risk of it being passed on to anyone else in the family and therefore anyone else in the community, and it helps them as a family recover from the effects of it sooner. So it is a useful tool, and we've got the capacity to do it. It doesn't mean it'll be right for every circumstance or necessarily into the future, but I think it's a useful tool for us for now. Thanks for the, I see some encouraging comments coming through. Thank you very much for that. Someone just raised just asked if I could continue to just encourage people to make sure that they're following the level 3 guidelines. Of course, if you are in the Auckland Super City region, you are covered by the level 3 restrictions. And of course, what we're asking of you is that if you are able to work from home, you do. that you keep to your household bubbles. Schools will not be operating unless for those who have no other options and are required for work purposes, they're able to access schools, but we are asking those who can keep their children at home to keep them at home. And you'll see the reasons why. We have had a few schools affected by our most recent outbreak. Also, if you are working in any customer-facing businesses, you're only able to operate if you're offering pick up, click and collect, and contactless deliveries. So all of the circumstances we got used to for the last time we were in level 3. Another thing that I thought I'd just very quickly touch on, look, there's a lot of, sadly, a lot of rumours and a bit of misinformation that's occurring online. Some of it vilifying people who have COVID-19. I just, again, want to reiterate what the Director General's already said. People are not the problem here, the virus is. We're working very hard to make sure that we win that battle, but we'll only do that together. And so some of the things I've seen online have just been patently false, including rumours about families that have COVID. They're just wrong, factually incorrect. And so I will say that again, particularly rumours that suggest any of those families have accessed our quarantine facilities or anything like that. They are just false. So simple message, don't believe everything that you see online. If you're looking for factual information, please do use the COVID-19 website. You don't necessarily need to listen to politicians. Dr. Bloomfield at 1 p.m. though is a good person to tune into, and he'll often, of course, speak to any rumours or hearsay that he hears and dismiss those. I think that's just all I wanted to touch on for now. I'm trying again to just read. I promise you I'm doing just fine. It's just this lighting isn't great for the bags under my eyes at present. Someone's just asked whether or not we are forcing people apart from if they go into quarantine. We are very careful about the way that we manage that and people's care arrangements. We work through all of that in a really careful, responsible way. So that's something we work through with families. Someone's asking about, Wendy, I want to answer your question, but let me just get the full question. Oh, sorry, my Facebook's not allowing. You just asked why we were testing on day 3 and day 12 if it takes a full 14 days. Actually, the view is if you keep someone in quarantine for 14 days, then that's probably the best thing that you can do. We take an extra precautionary approach of testing before they exit after that 14th day. And so we do that at day 12 before the 14th day comes around. So that's why we're doing that. But we also test at day 3 as well. And that just allows us to put someone into a very specific facility, even though they are in isolation already. All right, everyone, I think I've probably canvassed a few of the most common questions that you're throwing up. Thanks for tuning in. I know this is a really difficult time. Lots of uncertainty out there, but I can assure you that with a plan like ours, which we have been working on for some time for this eventuality, we will get through just as we have before. Our goal ultimately is to make sure that we have the shortest time possible with restrictions. And we are still actually at level 3 allowing about 80% of economic activity is underway still, but very, very carefully and by minimising social interaction. Please, I'm again ask that you just limit your movements. Make sure you stick to your bubble. No social gatherings, I'm sorry. But we will, if we all follow those guidelines, get through this. That's if you live in Auckland. We will get through this together. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Look after yourselves and have a very good Sunday night.